Downtown Buffalo's only full-service grocery store, Braymiller Market. It opened in September 2021 after years of planning and after receiving $8.3 million in public assistance, including tax breaks, state grants, and tax-free loans. It was part of a big project on the 200 block of Ellicott Street that turned a city-owned parking lot into the grocery store and 201 affordable housing units in an apartment building next door at 201 Ellicott. That apartment building also received tens of millions of dollars in subsidies, including federal low-income housing tax credits. But now, the viability of the grocery store is being questioned by some city leaders as a $563,000 grant is on the line, a grant to help keep the store in business. Joining us live is Dale Shoemaker from our nonprofit partner, Investigative Post. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
First, we're going to start off by talking more about the backstory about this project. I looked in our news archives this afternoon and I found stories that I did back in 2015 about downtown getting a grocery store after Mayor Byron Brown mentioned it in his State of the City address that year. That announcement was a big deal.
Yeah, and these are the types of projects, when you hear city officials and experts, talk about urban renewal, these types of projects are really what they hold up as the ideal. You take an old parking lot and you turn that old parking lot into affordable housing with a grocery store, nearby, in this case right next door. Downtown, this is just right across the street from the library, near public transit, and right down the street from Salem Field. So this is really what they, hold up as the ideal. But it's important to note, as you did in the intro here, that this only came with really, really hefty subsidies from the federal government, from the state government, and from the county government, the Industrial Development Agency.
And the plans changed throughout the years. I remember seeing renderings that showed this giant skyscraper. But now that we have the backstory, here's what's going on now. 8 years later, the Buffalo Common Council is deciding whether to give Braymiller Market more funding in the form of a $563,000 grant. So here's what one Common Council member has to say about that.
It is a store, but I don't know if it fits what many people need when you talk about a grocery store.
And that was Buffalo Common Council President Darius Pridgeon. So Dale, why does the grocery store say it needs this grant? And then based on the research from UB that you've seen about the need for grocery stores in other Buffalo neighborhoods, do the people you've talked with think this is the best use for that grant money?
Yeah, so Braymiller Market says that it needs this money, despite having all of that public subsidy, to get the thing built in the first place. They say they need the money because they're suffering from pandemic-induced losses. The store opened its doors in September 2021. They were not eligible for programs like PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, which kept a lot of businesses afloat during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so they say their business has taken a hit. Now, what Darius Pridgeon was just talking about there is the fact that Braymiller Market is both a wholesaler for restaurants in addition to being a grocery store. So when he says, I'm not sure if this is the right use for this grant, what he's referring to is that this is not just a grocery store. This is not, subsidizing a Tops or even a Wegmans, for example. There's a whole other side to the Braymiller business. And when I talked to some food experts, including at the University at Buffalo and in some nonprofits here locally, what they said is that their research going back, 15 years or more shows that on the east side, the need for grocery stores is far greater than it is downtown. Now, these folks said that, yes, downtown does in fact need a grocery store, but the need on the east side is greater, which I think we all became aware of last summer after the Tops mass shooting. That was one of the big takeaways there, is that there needs to be more food access on the east side.
And we've heard from the politicians. What does the owner of Braymiller have to say about all of this?
Well, I've tried to ask him, and he, Stuart Green, the owner of Braymiller Market, he has refused repeated interview requests. He did say, send a statement saying that he appreciates, the city being willing to consider his request. But again, I asked him multiple times, and he refused to speak with me. So we really don't know his full thoughts.
All right, Dale Shoemaker with Investigative Post. Thank you for being on the town hall. You can check out more stories from Investigative Post right now at investigativepost.org.